It's been more than a few years now that I spent very much time in the world of make-believe or escape. I used to do it quite a lot. I started out as a kid doing what most kids do, playing various games of various kinds, and I'm young enough, or old enough rather, that when I was young, things like TV really weren't all that big a thing, though they were beginning to become so in my teen years. But the point is, I spent a lot of time escaping reality through television shows and various other things that I spent my time on that were basically all but a total waste of time. There are a lot of people who will say, you must just not have any fun because you don't do television and various of those kinds of things that other people spend a lot of time on. But the reality is, I actually have quite a bit of fun. I enjoy myself quite a bit. And better yet, when I get done having fun of various kinds, though sometimes my life is challenging, it's never horribly hard, among other things, because I spend my time actually minding my business, my life, my existence. I wanted to talk today on the idea of Then There's Reality on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host, I'm Kurt, and today is Wednesday, the 12th of January, 2022. Welcome to everyone on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube, on BitChute, on CloudHub, on minds.com if you happen to be catching me there, which will happen periodically. I want to go, though, to the place of Then There's Reality. That's what I want to talk about today. By the way, Rumble is my preferred platform. I know I didn't say that earlier on. But yeah, I want to talk about the idea of Then There's Reality. And I'm going to go ahead and go through my notes to give you some idea exactly what I'm talking about, right? So let me go ahead and do that real quick. I have no idea what various people may be talking about or planning when it comes to getting people under their, or to give up their sovereignty, under their control, right? I remember well the Dungeons and Dragons craze that swept society in my young childhood. I was in Spokane, Washington, when a lot of people really got into it, and even people in Spokane, little podunk Spokane at the time, got quite interested in that craze. I can entirely believe there are folks out there who consider wrongly they're going to use some similar concept, something similar, to come into control of large parts of society. Something like the Dungeons and Dragons craze. Though they may be sold on such an idea, there are a couple of pesky realities that will pretty certainly get in their way. Because I work as a software developer, I can work from my house, and nobody but those who manage and supervise me, as a rule, are any the wiser. There are some others, but not very many. Can you do that if you're a grocery store checker or a stalker? How about a road maintenance crew member? A waiter or register operator at a restaurant, or a chef or a cook? Dishwasher? How about a receptionist in a doctor's or lawyer's office where you have walk-in clients? Or a doctor him or herself, or a, lawyer. In just about every case, there's basically no way to do that job, quote, from home, end of quote. There are instances where maybe people can do that, and particularly if they're just answering phones or whatever. That's why many folks complained when they were told they couldn't go into work, right? Doesn't take a genius to figure that out. If I can't go into work, well, let me go ahead and just continue. But if I can't go into work, I don't get paid if I have to be there to do my job. When the local fast food joint closed its lobby and downsized its staff yet again recently, it made one thing entirely questionable. Will this place survive doing this again? Now, I'm going to tell you that one may, because it's a big chain. Although the restaurants themselves are franchise operations, so that's questionable too. As it is, most of the people who worked there moved on in the meantime after the last time they did such a thing. To this day, it's easy to see. They lost those people. It's easy to see they lost those people, since the folks working there now have much less of an idea how to do things. They're getting better, but of course they have to go through a lot of time and effort to get to the point where they really know what they're doing. That applies to a huge part of folks working in various restaurants and stores in my local area. The point here is this. If you think you're going to be able to move many employees to something like the metaverse, you're confused. if you think somebody else will, you're no less so. You're also confused. You're not any less so. They may play there, those folks who go, but the majority will not end up working there. They will not. Where are all those Dungeons and Dragons players today? This is a serious question. Where are they? They run the strata of current society, and many are retired or getting ready to do so. You may think it'll be different this time. Then there's reality. Okay, I'm done with my notes, so let me get on with this. Here's the thing. It's fair to say that there's a greater level of control and a greater level of ability to sort of shuffle people in things like the metaverse than in things like Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons was a bunch of people who went out as a group and got together and met to play these games, right, that they sometimes would take days or weeks to play. Okay? The metaverse is some people who are trying to control, to some degree and to some extent, the universe that is the metaverse, the entity that is the metaverse, from the outside and make people happy to be there. But here's the thing. Here's what you have to get and understand and so forth. Even if you do that, if I'm a box boy or a stalker or a checker or a somebody who fixes streets or somebody who flags people down to slow them down when people are fixing streets, or a framer, as I've said before, or a carpenter of other kinds, or a plumber or whatever. I'm going to have to go where the work is if I want to work. So the idea that people are going to live in pods and eat bugs and spend all of their time in the metaverse and they're going to survive there is a lovely idea, except for a few things. Somebody, even if you do the bug thing, okay, somebody has to produce the bugs. Somebody has to do that. Now, of course, a lot of people like me ain't eating bugs, so that's a lost cause. You say in the future that will change? Well, it's possible, I suppose. I doubt it very seriously for a number of reasons. But I suppose it's possible. Even so, somebody must produce the bugs. Somebody must produce the computers. Somebody must produce the headsets, eye sets, whatever you want to call them. Somebody must produce all of that. Somebody must produce the code. And you can say artificial intelligence will do that. And my answer is no, probably not really. I'm not saying that artificial intelligence is not, as a lot of people have said, a, quote, scary thing, so much as and more advanced than I think a lot of people realize in certain senses, so much as I'm saying even stuff like that breaks. Somebody brought up something, I don't even remember which particular podcast it was that I was watching at the time, but they brought up something, and it was, I think it might have been Dan Bongino was talking about the idea that people had managed to convince some self-driving car that a stop sign meant speed up or whatever, as opposed to meaning stop, right? They also talked about the idea that artificial intelligence trying to decide whether to hit the lady who happened out into the street without seeing you with her baby in the stroller, as opposed to hitting a car on the side of the road or swerving sideways to get out of that situation or whatever, that the artificial intelligence probably will not be smart enough to figure out how to deal with that. And I hate to tell you this, but that's true. The reality is when people say, everybody will be in the metaverse in future, it is a ridiculous concept, and it's based on this idea that you're going to be able to get robotics and artificial intelligence and other things into such a place quickly enough that they can produce the things that are necessary to cause nutrition to happen, to cause people to have places to live and so forth, so quickly, and I don't believe it's going to happen. I just don't believe it. And I don't believe a lot of people are going to allow it or buy into it either. So you may disagree with me, but I'll just tell you something. As far as I'm concerned, there's this idea that people are going to live in the metaverse. Then there's reality. And I don't think those two mesh. All right, I need to go ahead and wrap up. I'm over my time. Again, this is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt, and today is Wednesday, the 12th of January, 2022. That means we're on that middle of the week day, and tomorrow will be Thursday, the 13th of January of 2022. Obviously coming into the weekend very quickly. Thank you for everyone who's been here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube, on BitChute, on CloudHub, and if you catch me on Minds, on minds.com. And remember, Rumble is my preferred platform. You can give me a boxing glove on Rumble as a Rumble. You can give me a plus or a minus there. It's positive or negative feedback. If you find my content anywhere else and I put it there, well, whether or not I put it there, you can give me a like or dislike, however you do that. Show me that you enjoy the content. Show me that you don't. If it's possible for you to comment, of course, you can comment on whatever content I put out there, and if I'm notified of it, I will definitely pay attention to those notifications, to those comments, and try to internalize them, and where I think it's reasonable, respond to whatever it is that you had to say. Subject for today has been Then There's Reality. Tomorrow we're going to talk on the subject of why truth matters, and I'd like to cover the idea particularly of people who are in positions where they get seen by a lot of folks and they put bogus stuff out there that they think people that people will consume whether or not they think so. That's the problem, that people will consume. Hope you're having a good day today. Hope everything is going well for you. I hope that your year is going nicely so far. Mine is okay. It's nothing special, but it's nothing horrible. And hopefully we will see you again on Thursday's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video is recorded on Wednesday, the 12th of January of 2022. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that, and you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.